I'm David Scandura.
I'm Justus Burkett.
And today we're here to find out if Manchester by the Sea is the greatest movie ever made.
And if you're gonna freak out every time that you see a frozen chicken, I think we should go to the hospital. I don't know anything about this.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made. The show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
You are doing some kind of Carnival Barker step right up ass shit?
I don't know.
Interesting energy to kick off March Sadness with.
Yeah, this one's going to be a rough episode, so maybe trying to start things up.
Step right up and hear two grown men cry on microphone.
Witness the amazing Casey Affleck as he mourns the death of his daughters that he definitely caused.
And the death of his brother, who seemed like a much better guy than him.
Witness him not know how a safety on a handgun works.
He wasn't thinking clearly in his defense. He, when you get to the point where you are impulsively pulling an officer's firearm out of his holster in a police station, holding it to your own head and pulling the trigger, you're not thinking about the safety. You're thinking about how much you want to not be alive.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Commit to the bit. If you're gonna do that, you gotta follow through.
I don't get the vibe from Lee Chandler that this is a guy who's shot very many guns before. You know, he's an urban guy. He's from, well, I mean, I guess he was living in Manchester, but he's sort of from the Boston metro area. There's not that many guns in Massachusetts. This guy might have never held one before. He might not know about the safety or know where it is or whatever. And again, not thinking clearly. Very, very emotionally fraught moment for Lee Chandler when he pulls that gun out of that guy's holster. And to his credit, he immediately goes for the safety. Like, it doesn't work, and then he's like, how do I get the fucking safety off? And then he gets tackled. But
big ol' trigger warning, I guess.
Yes.
Hey, this is a sad episode, a sad movie. It's going to be a sad episode. We're going to talk about some depressing shit.
Yeah, if you are experiencing suicidal thoughts or ideations, call the suicide hotline and maybe rethink listening to this episode or watching the movie that it's about.
Definitely don't watch the movie.
Don't watch the movie. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry I made you watch this movie.
It's sorry that we already started the episode with a couple of suicide jokes before
the
trigger warning.
Yeah, I mean, it's Manchester by the Sea. I feel like people know.
Yeah.
I think. Hopefully when you clicked on this episode, you knew we would be talking about this.
I'm David Skender, joined as always by my co-host and the safety on a Glock 17, Justus Burkett.
Yep, and welcome, gentle listener, to episode 1 of 4 of March Sadness, our theme month for the month of March, in which we will be talking about movies like this.
Was there did you have something in mind when you ordered the episodes for this month? Like, are we going to be getting progressively sadder?
Not necessarily. The order was semi-random, but I did intentionally put the ones I had seen as the first 2 episodes, so that, because I thought it would be more fun if, like, a couple weeks into this, then we were both going in blind. Because I was like, well, I'm going to kind of know the tenor of the conversation for Manchester by the Sea and Jean de Florette, because I've seen those movies. But it's like, ordinary people could fucking obliterate me, and I just won't know. And I feel like it'll be more fun if that happens later in the month from the listener's perspective. And same with After Sun. Because I feel like the dramatic stakes increase when neither of us have seen the movie.
Sure.
So I loaded those 2 at the back of the month.
Okay. Interesting.
But that was basically the only thought I put into it.
We are starting off with a doozy, though.
Oh, yeah. This one's rough, dude. Yeah, it's really fucking sad. It's March Sadness, so we're not pulling any punches. We're not doing evil films, because evil films, when they're sad, are sometimes also kind of fun. This movie's like, fun is not a word I would use to describe this movie. I would use a lot of positive words to adjectives to describe this film. I don't think fun is one of them.
Fun is not in the same solar system as most of the events of this film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a real downer, man. It is a New England bummer. Yeah.
Before we talk about this, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I mean, I watched
check in before we
Yeah,
talk about
right.
this, you know?
I watched Manchester by the Sea, and that didn't make me feel any better.
Dude, I watched Manchester by the Sea and then immediately went to sleep.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
rough.
Me too.
That's a rough.
And you know what I dreamt about all night? I dreamt that I think part of it is the news over the weekend that we got that we're now in another war. Woohoo. And then also watching this movie, I had a dream that New York City got bombed like by Iran, I guess, or it was vague in the dream, but we got bombed by a country where we were at war with. And the Podmaster and I and you were all sitting around listing all the people we knew who lived in New York who were probably dead at like now that the city got bombed. That is what I dreamed about after watching this movie. So, just mainlining Manchester by the Sea and going straight into unconsciousness, maybe not the healthiest choice. But I'm actually doing all right, all things considered. The horrors aside, I personally am all right. The only thing I have to recommend is, I would be remiss if I didn't mention it on mic. Kira McSpice, an artist who I've shouted out multiple times before on the podcast, has a new album out. It's the first in another 4-album series that she's doing. This one is called Saturnism, and it's really, really fucking good, unsurprisingly. She is one of the most exciting musicians working today, in my opinion, and she is heavily underrated. She's an independent artist, so buy her album on Bandcamp, as I did, listen to it a dozen times in 2 days, as I also did. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good!
We haven't talked about my new job on the podcast.
No, not really. We've alluded to the fact that you have a new job.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am now an employee of the United States government at one of the only remaining government institutions that you can feel morally sound working for.
Right. Yeah. Which narrows it down to a handful.
That hasn't been corrupted by the ravages of fascism. Mm-hmm. I work for the United States Postal Service.
He's a mailman.
I'm a mail boy. And I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and it's been a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And, my mood's kind of gone up and down during this whole process of applying for the job and considering it and then training for it. Some of those those moments where my mood was down in the dumps were pretty bleak and depressing.
Yeah.
But I think most of that has passed, and I think I like this job.
Good.
And it's work.
Well, yeah.
It's work.
Yeah.
And it's a big change from what I was used to doing, which was working from home.
Yeah.
And now I'm actually putting in hard work for 8+ hours a day. Which is satisfying in its own way.
Yeah.
But it's also an adjustment, and I'm trying my best to be patient and learn as much as I can and be safe out there. That's mostly been my life.
Yeah.
As of late.
Yeah. It does feel like a much larger part of your life, as experienced by me talking to you about it, has been work focused lately, but not in a bad way, which sometimes feels good. Sometimes it feels good to be I'm busy with a job and I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. I'm tired, know, and I'm getting
working hard will do that
I'm
to
getting
you.
used to that.
Yeah.
I am putting in less. Currently, have been putting in less hours than I was at my last job.
Yeah.
Just because the way the position that I'm in is not a career position. It's you do this to learn the ropes, and eventually they make you career, and you have your own route that you deliver to and more benefits. So hours can be kind of variable, and the schedule changes every week. So I haven't even put in a full 40-hour work week yet. I've had a couple of days where they've been too busy, or they've scheduled too many people, and so I've gone home early. I've had a couple of days that have just gone by really quickly, and I've gone home early. And then today is the longest day that I've worked so far, which was closer to 9 hours instead of 8.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah,
I guess
it is different.
It's
Sorry you had to
different.
work your longest day so far and then come talk to me about Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, it'd be different if it was like a goopy 90-minute horror movie.
Yeah,
but it's like I gotta
working a 9-hour shift and then being like, all right, I gotta clock in at the sad movie factory.
I gotta punch the time clock and then head right on over here to talk about this fucking thing. I don't have anything to recommend, so we'll just talk about Manchester by the Sea.
Yes.
Directed by Kenneth Lonergan.
Yes.
Academy Award winning film for Best Original Screenplay and Best Actor.
Yes.
For one Casey Affleck.
A divisive win on account of his history of being a weird little creep, which mostly happened in 2010, 6 years before the release of this movie. And to my knowledge, he has not repeated that behavior in years past, but that does not, or years after that.
Yeah.
I mean, but that of course does not exonerate him for being a weird little sex creep.
Yeah, I think he did acknowledge his past behavior and said that he was trying to change.
Yeah.
I haven't looked for any updates on that, but, famous Casey Affleck, famously a well-adjusted normal guy, once again playing a well-adjusted normal guy in this movie.
Yeah.
I have never seen Casey Affleck just play a dude. Just a normal dude. He's always got some screws loose.
Because he was born with the world's saddest set of eyes, I don't think he is capable of playing a regular dude. I feel like you look at this guy's face and you're like, there is something fundamentally broken about this
and
man.
His voice, man.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
You can't put an AK-47 in his hands and make him an action hero because his voice is like this.
Anytime
he's so sad.
Anytime in this movie that someone tries to extend a metaphorical hand to him, to reach out to him in his darkness, and he responds by going, "Oh." It's like the most heartbreaking thing in the entire world. That happens so many times in this movie. The big one is with the Lucas Hedges' second girlfriend's mom, right?
Yeah.
Jill, I think is the character's name.
Yes, I think it's I think the girlfriend is Stacy.
Sandy.
Yeah.
There's
the mom.
There's Sydney and Sandy or something.
Yeah.
Their names are intentionally.
That mom can fucking get it, by the way.
Yeah. Well, not from Casey Affleck, because he only has a boner for the memories of his past that are inaccessible to him now. When she's talking to him, specifically when he's out in the car, and she's like, I think they're going to be a little longer. Do you want to come in for dinner? Is one of the moments where he does the and it shatters me. And I'm like, it's crazy that he can do that by going, oh. It's like he's so good at just looking like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders.
He does not want to be perceived.
No.
Does not want to be acknowledged.
Yeah. Which is hilarious because throughout this movie, women are constantly throwing themselves at him.
See, when I act weird and aloof
right.
and I'm depressed, women think I'm weird and off-putting.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe.
And Casey Affleck has hoes lining up for him.
Maybe if you had a little...
There's a fucking line around the block to bang this autistic fucking weirdo.
Maybe if you had a South Boston accent and piercing blue eyes and his sad little... Just his sad, tense little frame, you know, maybe it would go better for you. I don't know. It is crazy that at the, early on in the movie, like, there's the lady, because he's a handyman. There's the lady whose toilet he's fixing who wants to fuck him, and he overhears her talking about how she wants to fuck him. And then he's like, okay, your toilet's fixed. Goodbye. And then, like, at the bar, there are, like, women making eyes at him. Like, the lady who spills her drink on him is, like, later making eyes at him and stuff. And he just seems, like, totally, like, nonplussed by all of this stuff. And I'm like, I get that you accidentally killed your kids, and that sucks. But at the same time, you're not gonna acknowledge this in any way.
She spills her drink on him, like, intentionally.
Yes,
like
right.
she's trying
move.
She's trying to make a move.
Yes, yeah.
And he's just like, no, it's okay. I'm gonna go cry. I'm gonna go home to my.
Your Casey Affleck does sound a little bit like George Lucas.
It's a tough voice. The first one was a little more Kermity.
Yeah. I would
Manchester by the Sea, but the entire cast is Muppets.
Yes, but the entire cast is Muppets except for Michelle Williams. Oh. She's the only human, and everybody else is a Muppet. Casey Affleck would definitely be Kermit. He does sort of have Kermit the Frog energy, because Kermit the Frog also seems kind of world weary a lot of the time.
I said horrible things to you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. I can't do it. So we can't get lunch sometime. I don't think that's such a good idea. Yeah. Well, in that case, the mom that wants to fuck him is definitely played by Miss Piggy. I guess that would literally mean that if Casey Affleck was played by Kermit the Frog in this movie, then Lucas Hedges' role would definitely be filled by the canonical nephew of Kermit, Robin the Frog. And then Robin the Frog's just laying pipe in this movie. It is crazy that Lucas Hedges...
Can my girlfriend come over and stay the night? My second girlfriend, Sandy, doesn't know about my first girlfriend, Sydney, so if you could not tell her, Uncle Kermit.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever. I like the...
Just make sure you use a condom.
Which he does, to his credit. To his credit, Patty is using a condom. Struggling to use a condom. Struggling to get laid after his father's death, which is like a hard time to get laid, I guess.
If I was in this situation and my nephew was like, yeah, I'm gonna be banging. I'm gonna let you know that I'm banging chicks right now.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna go to my girlfriend's house to bang her. I'm gonna have my girlfriend come over. I'm gonna bang her.
Yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. I would walk into the bay.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that you can kind of see how like pained Casey Affleck is by all of this, where he's just like, do you really got to be doing this right now, man? Like, you're not allowing yourself to feel it. And I feel he's like silently judging him. He's like, I think this is bad for you, the way you're coping with this. Right. At the same time, though, it is interesting because I feel like one of the things this movie is like talking about is like the different ways that people like respond to grief. And like, Lee, Casey Affleck's character, has been spending the last like however many years since the major tragedy of his life just putting up walls and shutting people out and isolating himself.
Yeah.
To the point where he is basically not functional as a person anymore. And then he sees his nephew sort of going the opposite direction and trying to drown out his grief with like spending time with his two girlfriends and his friends and his band and playing sports, and he's trying to keep so busy that he doesn't have to feel it. And I think it's interesting that the movie sort of juxtaposes those characters next to each other and lets us see that like both of these are just valid ways to respond to tragedy, and that there is no right or wrong way to feel these things, because it's just like no matter what you do, it's hard and terrible. And it's like it is hard and terrible for Patty. He's just expressing that in the opposite way that Lee does, you know. And it's sort of most surface level observation about this movie, I feel like, but it's like it's also one that I think that the movie executes really well, because they never talk about it. Like they never have a conversation where they talk about how they grieve in different ways. The movie just shows you that Patty is like having a hard time, but the way that he is having a hard time is by just distracting himself and not allowing himself to feel what has happened, you know?
Yeah, there are deeper themes and things that we can pull out of this movie. And it's saying a lot about grief. And but I think, yeah, on a surface level, it's showing you the different ways that people grieve, and it does it in such a realistic, nuanced way that you know, there are big emotions in this movie being expressed by people, but they're all done in very naturalistic, humanistic performances, and that's supplemented by similarly naturalistic writing.
Yeah.
You know, a different movie would have the characters sit down and monologue about their grief at the climax of the film.
Yeah.
And there would be a sense of healing and progression and growth. And maybe the movie leaves you with a slight hint of that at the end. But really what this movie is saying is that sometimes you don't heal. You don't progress. You just grieve.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process. But sort of with Casey Affleck's character, it feels like he is wallowing in suffering and thinks he deserves punishment and his lot in life for what he's done. And the movie's message is that, like, you don't learn anything from that.
Yeah.
You don't get anything from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is nothing to learn from suffering. Sometimes you just suffer.
Yeah. And I think that's sort of the point of the thing that we were joking about earlier, where all these women are throwing themselves at him throughout the movie. The movie makes a point of being like, he could just say yes to some of this and he might have a good time. Like, he might feel a little bit better. And he refuses to let himself, because he knows he might feel a little bit better if he said yes to any of that. And he believes that he doesn't deserve to feel better.
Yeah.
Right?
If he punishes himself enough,
yeah,
it will result in something.
He'll And I don't even necessarily think that he thinks about it that way, because when he talks about death, he talks about it with such finality and such cold detachment. Like when they're talking about his brother Joe, right? Him and his nephew Patty. Lee is like I don't remember the scene because they talk about him a few times. But he's like, it's just his body. He's not there anymore, is one of the things that he says. And so he's like, it doesn't matter. Right. And he's really dismissive of like treating dead bodies with respect and stuff, because in his mind, it's like, well, it's already gone. Like, what's done is done. Right.
Well, and that makes sense considering the, as far as we know, the only time he sees his girls is when they're being carried by the firefighter in the body bag. Their bodies have literally been reduced to nothing.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah,
the humanity has been stripped away from them. Due to the manner in which they died.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's been, he's detached from experiencing death and experiencing the the soul leaving a person's body, I guess. You
Right,
know?
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think it does. And it's like, right. And so it's like, it's interesting to me that it feels like he is punishing himself, but it doesn't feel like he's punishing himself for any kind of reason, because it feels like he's sort of abandoned like a higher purpose or a higher meaning. You know, it feels like he doesn't really believe or buy into any of that. It feels like he's punishing himself just because he thinks he deserves to be punished, and allowing himself to feel good and get past it will be somehow betraying his girls, his kids, right? And in some ways Michelle Williams as well, who is obviously still alive but is also still burdened by the pain of something that is ultimately, even though it was an accident, his fault, right? And so it's like, I feel like it's less like, maybe if I can suffer enough, I'll get to some kind of bigger understanding or bigger whatever, right? And it's more just like he believes he has to suffer until he dies because that's what he deserves to do, you know?
Yeah, I don't even. Here's where I'm coming at this from.
Yeah.
And it's funny that we went from like Kermit jokes right into this.
Yeah, well. Such is the nature of March sadness. Get ready for a bunch of heavy shit.
I have dealt with grief
Yeah.
recently and have experienced depression for most of my life. I related a lot to Casey Affleck's particular struggle in this movie. Partially because I burned my own house down and killed my daughters. No.
That would be a wild on mic reveal. David used to have a family. He killed them all in an accidental house fire.
And I went down to the convenience store to get some more beer.
And
No.
I picked this movie knowing that.
Yeah, it is. It's not that if he punishes himself enough, he'll understand something. I don't think it's that. But I do think I've experienced this feeling where it's like, I don't deserve anything good. I'm going to punish myself. I'm going to deny myself pleasure and healing. Because I don't deserve anything better. And the fundamental, I think, the fundamental problem with that mindset is that there is no end goal. It is like when you will never punish yourself enough.
Right.
It is, you will never, it's a self-defeating, self-perpetuating cycle. You will never get out of this cycle.
Yeah.
There will never be a conclusion. There will never be finality. You will never move past this.
Yeah. I kind of think, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of think that that's what he means when he says, my favorite line of the movie. I think this is one of the best lines in the whole screenplay, which is when Patty is talking to Lee towards the end, and he's like, well, why can't you just, like, I want you to be my guardian, you know, or you are my guardian. I want to live with you. Like, let's make this work. And he's like, I can't. And he says, I can't beat it. I can't beat it. Right. Is what he says to him. And initially, the first time I watched this movie, which was the year it came out, so it's been a decade for me between viewings on this. I saw it in 2016, and then this is my second time watching it in 2026. First time I watched this, I thought he meant, like, literally, I can't beat the thing that happened, the thing that we saw where the house burned down. That is still a thing that I can't get over, right? And then watching it this time, I was like, I don't think that's what I Can't Beat It is about. I think I Can't Beat It is the thing that you're talking about. I can't get out of this cycle that I have gotten myself into. And it's less about what put me here in the first place, which was the huge tragic event, and more the years of this self-perpetuating cycle of misery, right? It's like I think towards the end he realizes that he feels more trapped by what he's been doing to himself than by the tragedy that happened that set this whole cycle in motion, and I kind of think that that's what he learns in the movie, is that it's like that his pain has sort of become detached from the thing that happened.
Yeah, I think that's it. Flashbacks just happen in this movie.
I love how the flashbacks are done in this movie.
We go to a new scene and then we realize that we're in a flashback.
Yeah, because Kyle Chandler's there, or the kid, or Patty is the kid actor. Yeah.
And he doesn't experience the flashback to the night his house burned down and his children died until a very specific point in the movie. And at that point, it's clear that it is he is experiencing that memory as we are seeing it in the film. Before that, we've had flashbacks to his brother, but it's clear he's not really experiencing that memory until that particular moment in the movie. And what I think has led him to this is it's at a certain point, it was not the death of his children and the divorce from his wife. It was what we see at the beginning of the movie, which is just the cruel, mundane monotony of his existence, of like waking up, shoveling the walk, going to work as a janitor,
he's
as
a handyman.
Going to a bar at night, going back home. It's like that's the tragedy that I think this movie that people might not understand about this movie, because this movie is like, sometimes like the real tragic things in life sometimes are just so mundane and normal. And those that can be amplified. Those feelings can be amplified during a time of grief or during a time of tragedy. Where you sort of you take stock of your life and realize that the years have just gone by.
I've heard those moments described somewhere, I don't remember where, as cruel, unstoppable nothings. And I just love that phrase, right? Where it's just like that one of the worst things that life serves you up is just the series of cruel, unstoppable nothings. Things that don't matter in the grand scheme of your life, but feel bad and just happen to you and you can't do anything about it. And it's like, we see kind of Lee living through his day of cruel, unstoppable nothings on a loop at the beginning of the movie. And I think you're totally right. I think that's such a big part of the man he's become, is just living in that routine that has beaten him down. And he has put himself in that position willingly because he thinks he deserves it, right? Like we said before, he's not allowing himself any joy or any catharsis or any relief. And so it's like he is grinding himself down on purpose because he thinks that that's all he deserves, right?
And part of why he doesn't want to leave Quincy, Mass. That's not Boston.
It's a suburb of South Boston.
Okay, so it is okay.
Quincy's basically Boston. If you're from Quincy, you can say you're from Boston.
Okay.
It's technically a different township, but it's like how Tempe is Phoenix, but it's also not Phoenix.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why he doesn't want to leave, part of that is just like, the town has he has too many bad memories with the town, and his reputation has been ruined because of what happened.
Right, because he used to live in Manchester by the sea. It's very clear that like anytime he sets foot in Manchester, everybody's like, oh, there's that guy who killed his kids.
Yeah. But I think another reason why he can't leave is why he can't make that move is like he's so set in that routine. As as monotonous and as painful as it is, it's all he knows. And in a way it is home to him.
Yes, it's comfortable for him, and being a parent again is really uncomfortable for him, right? Because he left that all behind when his kids died, right? And so it's like having to parent Patty is like the thing that is like throwing him off, because he's like, I can't fucking do this again. Like, how can I do this again? And it's also interesting that Patty is older than his kids ever got to be. I think that that's also part of it.
Yeah.
Is like, it's not like he is picking up where he left off. It's like there's lost time in between.
And
right?
that's clear in the memories too. We only see young Patty at 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
And he's very different than he is as a teenager.
Right.
Where like Lee is clearly like the favorite uncle.
Yeah.
They're out on the boat. They're having a good time. And then we jump ahead a few years, and he's grown up. He's played by Lucas Hedges.
Yeah.
He's a teenager now, and has his own. He's developed his own personality and has his own sense of rebellion, and that hasn't changed just because his dad has died.
And also, in some ways, Lee burned the bridge with Patty as well after what happened, right? Because it's like we do see in one of the flashbacks. I love this flashback sequence so much. I might as well just gush about it while I'm talking about one moment from it. But it's the one where it's Lee after everything has happened, and he's talking to Joe, Kyle Chandler's character, and he's like, Kyle Chandler's like, he's like, where are you go? Like, tell me where you're going. And he's like, I'm going to the hotel. And he's like, tell me when you're going to call me. And he's like, right as soon as I get there. And he's like, if I don't hear from you by 9 p.m., I'm calling the police.
Because I think we're meant to believe that chronologically it's the first thing that happens after the police station.
I believe so. I think it's right. I think it's the same day.
Yeah.
Right. I guess the next day. Right. And so, but then Kyle Chandler is like, Patty, come say bye to your Uncle Lee. And Lee's like, no, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Like, don't make him do that. And he's like, no, it's not okay. And we're going to wait until he gets to see you. Right. And then like Lee gets in the car and Patty comes out to say bye. And Lee's basically like, see you later. Like, as he's pulling out, like he does not give this kid any time. And I think like we're meant to believe that moment sort of sets the tone for the next 10 years of their relationship. Right. So it's like, yeah, when Lee was a little kid, or sorry, not Lee. When Patty was a little kid, Lee was his favorite uncle. Lee was around all the time. He was super fun, like life of the party. And then this thing happened, and then like Lee burned that bridge with it, like he destroyed that relationship. And then we're picking up basically where it left off, because I get the impression that like Lee has not been around. You know? Yeah. And so like, and Patty even says that when Lee picks him up at hockey practice to tell him that his dad died, because Patty sees him, and the first thing that he says is like, "Oh shit, my Uncle Lee's here. He only comes around when my dad's in the hospital," right? Because Kyle Chandler has congestive heart failure, so it's like a thing that has been happening for a few years. But yeah, so it's interesting that it's like he doesn't get to pick up where he left off in terms of like a parent. Like there's a gap that's missing, where like his oldest daughter was probably like, I don't know, like 10 or 11 when the tragedy happens. And then Lucas Hedges is playing a 16-year-old in this movie. So there's time that feels lost there. But then also he is literally picking up where he left off in his relationship with Patty, because it's like he's been absent for this whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. We should talk about Lucas Hedges.
Yes.
We've talked quite a bit about Casey Affleck.
Yes. Who, just to be clear, because I haven't said this, I think he's great in this movie.
Yeah.
I think the subtle sadness that we were talking about that he sort of embodies physically and with his voice and everything is pretty incredible. Yeah.
And, allegations aside, I don't like, and the whole mess that was.
Right.
The Academy doesn't often acknowledge subtle performances.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's a showy, shouty one that'll get you the, yeah.
Sometimes it's the most acting as opposed to the best acting.
Right.
And I think this is a well-deserved award
I agree. I think
for-
he's phenomenal in this movie.
for a subtle performance.
Yeah. Lucas
sort
Hedges.
of hoping that maybe we'll get one of those this year with Joel Edgerton for Train Dreams, because holy fucking shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, talk about a sad eyes performance.
I mean, we have
pretty similar performances, honestly.
pretty stacked best actor race this
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I'd
It's
be
gonna
happy with any of those, but I'm
Me too.
kind of pulling for Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
Hey guys, post-production David here to issue a correction. Everything that I just said is wrong. Joel Edgerton is not nominated for Best Actor for Train Dreams, and I just convinced myself that he was because he's so good in Train Dreams. If anything, this just proves my point even further that the Academy rarely recognizes the quiet, nuanced performances that we're talking about here. So I'm just going to use this opportunity to say, watch Train Dreams, because it's one of the best movies of last year. We didn't talk about it on Best of 2025 because we hadn't seen it yet, but it is one of my favorite movies of the past year, and one of the best movies that's up for Best Picture right now. It's probably not going to win, and that's okay, but it deserves to be seen. It's on Netflix right now, but honestly, if you have a local theater that's running the Best Picture nominees like I do, and you're able to spend the money to go see it on the big screen, do it, because it's maybe your only chance ever to see Train Dreams on the big screen. And it's a movie that deserves to be seen on the big screen and not just toil away on Netflix to be deleted by the whims of, the Netflix CEO or whatever, whenever he wants to get rid of movies. Yeah, it's a great movie. I know Justus would agree with me. Joel Edgerton is incredible in it. So watch Train Dreams. It's awesome. Anyways, back to March Sadness and Manchester by the Sea.
Anyway, Lucas Hedges.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this guy.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of kept popping up in movies that I was watching over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And this kid can fucking act, man.
He's so fucking good.
I say this kid. He's like 4 years younger than me.
Right, yeah. He's like, all right.
He's great in Lady Bird.
Yeah.
One of my favorite performances in Lady Bird.
Yeah.
Has probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And he's so fucking good in this.
Yes. The thing that I think he is able to do, and I think it's because he's so emotionally plugged into the character, is in a scene where Patty is just being like the most annoying shithead douchebag teenager imaginable, which he is for a lot of this movie. Like, for a lot of this movie, he's like pretty tough to deal with. At the same time, you never lose sight of the like very intense pain that he is feeling.
Yeah.
And I think it's so amazing that he's able to pull that off, where it's like what the script is giving him in terms of dialogue a lot of the time is just him being like a smart ass teenager. And I don't think that's bad script writing. I think it is good that he is sort of just kind of reacting by being brash and rude and, calling his uncle who abandoned his life to take care of him an asshole and shit, Like, I think that it's good that that's like, because it feels really true. But at the same time, it's like, you have to get a good actor in that role, which they did, so that when he is saying all that shit, you can look at him and be like, he is hurting so bad. And then the moments that he breaks are the moments of this movie that break me the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many things that this character and this performance have to do.
Yeah.
I kind of clocked this character immediately based on an experience that I had when I was younger.
Yeah.
I'll tell this story really quick. There's a family friend of ours who's, I think, technically my brother's godmother. I don't remember exactly how that works. But she had a son, and her son's a few years older than me. And when I was younger, I went to a funeral that I think maybe was someone in their family had died. Like,
Yeah.
I think his grandmother had died.
Yeah.
And I was riding around in the car with them afterwards, the godmother and her son, and like we get in the car after the ceremony or something, and we're driving to the reception or something like that. I don't remember. And he says, "Mom, can we stop by GameStop after this?" And she's like, "You want to go get a video game on the day of your grandmother's funeral," or something like that. And that's Lucas Hedges' character in this
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
He is trying to cope and deal with the loss of his dad and also trying to remain normal and continue to have his normal teenage life.
Right.
And just have it go on and continue and see his friends and party and bang his girlfriends and play hockey.
Yeah.
And I also think there's part of this that is like, I don't know, you've probably had this feeling like at some point as a kid, like, wouldn't it be cool if my parents weren't around?
Yes.
And
No,
I had
think,
all this freedom?
Yes, I think this is a huge thing with his character in this movie, is that his dad has died and his mother is estranged from their family, right? And I do think that so much of his stuff with, like, he's asking Lee to drive him around everywhere, and he's telling Lee that he has 2 girlfriends and that he's having sex with the one and he's trying to get there with the other one. And I'm like, I don't think he was telling his dad any of this. I don't think he was having conversations like this with Joe, because I think that it's basically like the kid part of his brain is like, okay, well, fuck it. Like, I don't have parents anymore. Like, I can just do whatever. I can go over to my girlfriend's house and, like, you know, and go to band practice and shit. And, like, nobody can tell me otherwise, because, like, my uncle who killed his kids isn't going to say anything about it, you know? And it's like, I do think that's a huge thing with his character. And it's like, it's a thing that the movie doesn't, I think the movie does a really good job of not showing that behavior as something that you can't understand or that is, like, unsympathetic, because he's a fucking kid, you know? He's 16 years old. Like, he's a child. And the way that this movie depicts teenagers feels so real to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like, they are not grown-ups, they are kids still. One of my favorites is when Patty and his girlfriend who's in the band with him, the singer of their shitty little band, when they're, like, trying to hook up, and like, Patty has Lee trying to distract the mom downstairs, basically, and he, like, falls out of the bed and, like, hits the dollhouse on the floor.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's the fucking dollhouse doing on the floor? And the girl's like, it's a dollhouse. That's where you play with it. and I'm like, that's so funny, because, like, these people are about to, like, bone, like, they're about to bang, and one of them is like, yeah, my dollhouse has to be on the floor because that's where I play dollies, right? And it's like, oh yeah, being 16 is like that. It's like, yeah, I'm about to get dicked down, but also my dollhouse has to be on the floor because that's where I, like,
Yeah.
that's where Barbie has her friends over, right? And I'm just like, it's so true. It's such a weird part of life where you're, like, not an adult, but you're not a kid anymore. And it feels like his reaction to his dad's death is firmly planted in that lane, where it's like he can't process it like an adult because he isn't one, but he's also too old to be totally ignorant about what's happening. You know?
Yeah, I don't see a lot of movies treat teenagers this way, where it shows them as, like, they're children who think that they're adults.
Yes, right,
They
totally.
think they have the maturity to do all these adult things, but at the end of the day, they're still kids.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you bring up the band.
Yes.
Because the other thing that Lucas Hedges has to do is be funny.
Right.
This movie,
Yes.
like we talked about, there's very little fun in this movie.
Yes.
However, this movie is funny.
It's not fun. It's funny.
Um,
There's a lot of moments in this movie that got big laughs out of me.
There's so much of Lucas Hedges butting heads with Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
And he's this kid is such like an unrepentant vile little piece of shit that it becomes hilarious.
Yes. Right.
Whenever he's like talking about like he's gonna go have sex with his girlfriends, or he's ordering Lee around to drive him around.
Yeah, or
and stuff,
asking him
like,
for money all the time.
Right.
Just being like, "Can I have some money?" Yeah.
after they have fights and stuff like that. But the stuff in this movie that I think is actually like the funniest shit, we get 2 or 3 scenes with him doing band practice, and they play out basically the same way, I think, where they're in the middle of a song,
Yeah.
and then someone stops the song and is like, "You're rushing.
It's always
you're doing this."
It's always Lucas Hedges who stops,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's always to yell at the drummer.
Oh, yeah. He's just like, he yells at them for a few minutes, then he's like, "All right, we'll take her from the top," and then he leans into the microphone and goes, "We are Stentorian," and they start the song again. First of all, Stentorian, great word, great
Yeah.
English vocab word.
Yeah.
Shit band name.
Really bad band name. Yeah. And I like that the band is like not good.
Yeah,
Like,
they're terrible.
they're not good.
They're like they're like a pop punk, power pop sort of thing.
Yeah.
And their songs suck.
Yeah. I'm sure that this is how my high school band sounded as well.
The lyrics are all repetitive
Yeah.
and stupid.
Yeah.
And these scenes are so fucking funny.
They're really funny. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of the comedy in this movie, there's lots of moments in this movie that make me laugh, and sometimes they're like sandwiched between some of the heaviest shit in the movie, which I think is done intentionally. I think Kenneth Lonergan wrote this screenplay in a really like emotionally intuitive way, where it's like, after some of this heavy shit, you're gonna need a laugh, and then we'll
Yeah.
feed you some of the heaviest shit in the movie right after you get a little chuckle out, right? But a couple of moments that stood out to me big time. There's the one at the funeral service. So they do the funeral service for Patty's dad, for Joe, right? But they can't bury him until the spring because the ground's too hard, because it's winter in New England, baby. Ground's fucking wet all year, and then it is ice. But they do the funeral service in the winter, and there's like George, the family friend, who is like, I think they're maybe hosting the wake for Joe. And George's wife is like across the room, and George comes up to Lee and is like, "Hey, Lee, have you eaten anything?" And he's like, "Not really, like I ate some cheese." And he's like, "Well, let me get you a plate." And he's like, "No, it's fine, I don't want anything." And George is like, "Hey," he's like yelling across the room to his wife. He's like, "Can you make Lee a plate?" And then she's like, "What? I can't hear you, it's too loud in here." And they just do that back and forth for like, and then the scene like cuts off abruptly in the middle of their exchange. It's so fucking funny. Just a married couple yelling across a loud room at each other.
Yeah.
I was like, number one, this is so relatable to me, because half of a marriage is going, "What?" And also it's just like, and then Casey Affleck is just standing next to George being just like, "Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry I said anything. I shouldn't even be here." Like, it's, that moment was really, really getting me. It was so funny.
Well, and there's other stuff like the first conversation that Casey Affleck and Lucas Hedges have about the fact that Joe is going to be kept on ice.
Yeah,
because he can't be buried because the ground is frozen. They're walking around. They're out making arrangements. And Patrick gets emotional about the fact that they're not going to bury him.
Yeah.
And they start fighting about it.
Yeah.
And then Casey Affleck is like, "Okay, where did I park the car?"
Yes, and they're looking for the car the whole time.
They continue fighting and he's just like, "Where did I park this fucking car?"
Where did I put the fucking car?
And it gets to the point where they're both like frozen to the bone trying to find this car.
Yeah, and they get in the car and he's like, "Turn the heat on," and he's like, "It's on full blast. It takes a second to heat up." Yeah. All that shit is, yeah. It's great.
New England accents. You know who has there's a lot of New England accents in this movie. The thickest New England accent in this movie, I think, is the kid playing Little Patrick
Yes.
on the boat when they're fishing, and he's like, "It's a shark! It's a shark! I caught a shark, Daddy!"
Like sharks don't swim in schools. Yeah.
This kid, was this kid in the town?
I think they
He's
just
in,
plucked
he's in the Departed.
they just plucked a lad off of the streets of Quincy and, just put him on this boat. You're in a movie now, kid. This is have you ever been to New England?
No.
Okay. My mom's family is from New England. Massachusetts is
Does New York count?
no. Absolutely not. If you're asking that question, you don't know shit about New England.
Okay.
My mom's family's from Massachusetts, or from New England, really. They've lived in various spots. They've lived in Maine and Vermont, but right now they're in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is probably the state I have spent the most time in, other than Arizona and Utah, the two states that I've lived in. Right, and so I feel like I am an outsider in terms of New England culture, but I feel like I'm an outsider with like a decent amount of perspective because I've spent a reasonable amount of time there and I have lots of connections to family there. This movie is the most powerfully New England movie of all time. It's not just the accents, like so much of this movie, like just the shots of Lee's beat up like Jeep Cherokee driving down these narrow weird little streets with these like 2-story houses with like the like wood paneling on them, and the color palette of it, the whites and the blues, it is like viscerally New England. Like if you go to Massachusetts and drive around, it looks exactly like this movie. And that's a thing too that I just like feel like I really latched onto this time, because 10 years ago I had been to Massachusetts a bunch, but not as much as I have been now. And I feel it even more. It's so thick in this movie how steeped in the place it is.
Yeah, I mean, you could cut 10 minutes out of this movie that are just establishing shots.
Yeah, but
Where it's
why
like,
would you?
Where it's like the harbor
Yeah.
and the town and
seagulls,
landmarks and
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been to New England.
Yeah.
This was shot on location, and it feels so distinct in this film.
Yeah.
And it is like it's kind of goes back and forth for me, being like, wow, New England is beautiful, and also, wow, New England seems shitty.
Yes, and that is the magic of New England and Massachusetts specifically, my friend, is that it is simultaneously a gorgeous paradise full of lots of history and like rich culture, and also a total shithole full of assholes.
That's the thing, is like I get the impression that like Casey Affleck is not he's not an anomaly.
No,
In this, like everyone else in these cities,
Massachusetts is
are
full
just
of
like-
miserable fucks just like this.
yeah, like the bar fights that he gets into.
Yes.
It's like these are all drunk, depressed, working class guys.
Yeah.
Full of regret.
Yeah, it's a bunch of blue-collar dudes who failed out of life and live at the bar. And Massachusetts is like mecca for that type of dude.
And what else can you do aside? If you're not drinking, you're fishing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
And maybe.
Watching hockey. You're watching the Bruins. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like the scene where he. I like all the bar fights, but I like when he picks a fight with the random guy on the street
Yeah.
when he's chewing out Lucas Hedges after
Yeah.
after talking to the lawyer. I think that's Kenneth Lonergan actually in a cameo.
In a cameo? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
But
fun.
yeah, it's just like there's other guys like this living in New England.
Totally.
Oh, and he was friends with all of them.
Yes.
Before he burned his house down.
Yes, right. The party that they're having on the night that he burned his house down. It's just a bunch of New England dirtbags, right? It's like a bunch of guys smoking inside, playing pool. There's a joint being passed around. There's cocaine. It is a bunch of fucking losers. Like that's the thing that I love about this movie. It's not like he was like the perfect dad and husband, and then this horrible thing happened and he turned into a shitbag. It's like he was already a loser. We see him, and it's like he's coming home from hanging out with his brother and nephew on the boat, and Michelle Williams is in bed sick, and he comes home drunk. He had 8 beers on the boat, you know, and it's like he's a lovable loser.
When he's doing beer math, you know,
Yes, yeah.
you know this guy has a problem.
That was also this movie's funny. That was a big laugh line for me when he was doing the beer math. It's 1.14 whatever beers an hour, yeah. But it's like he's already a loser, and Michelle Williams loves him. They have a good relationship.
Yeah.
He's not a bad dad. You know, he's loving with his kids. But he's a loser. Like, he was already a loser. Mm-hmm. He was already a drunk and a degenerate, and he threw wild parties where his friends brought over cocaine into his house with his 3 young children, you know? Like, this guy wasn't some, like, model citizen. It's not like a Greek tragedy like Fall from Grace. It's like he didn't have grace to fall from. Like, he was like... he's a product of the place, and it's like, yeah, like... What this movie is sort of saying about New England, and I think about Massachusetts specifically, is that it like breeds the type of dude who's gonna like accidentally burn his house down because he's wasted, you know? And it's like, yeah, and the tragedy of that in some ways is that it's kind of not his fault on multiple levels, because it's like, yes, it was an accident, but also the culture that he was born into did this to him in some ways, right? Because it's like, yeah, we get into bar fights and lean on substances so that we don't like have to talk about our feelings and shit. And it's like, yeah, he's watching hockey and he's wasted, but there's no more beer and he wants to get more wasted. So that's when he like takes off to walk to the corner store. And it's like addiction kind of did this to him as much as anything else, which is sort of another thing that the movie doesn't directly talk about.
No, it doesn't put a point on it
in a way that I love.
And it doesn't even like, yeah, it's very nuanced and subtle about the way it depicts that.
Yeah.
It's implying a lot of that the culture of working class New England guys bred this, made him do this. You know, it bred this addiction for him. We just took a pee break.
We did.
And on the podcast with Gorley and Rust, they named their pee breaks.
Oh.
So if we did that for this episode, it would be Manchester by the Pee. As we were saying before the pee break.
I didn't know you listened to With Gorley and Rust.
Yeah, I've listened to some of their episodes.
I sometimes listen to that one to go to sleep, which I don't think is an insult to that podcast, because I kind of think that's what they're going for. Is like trying to like be soothing for...
Yeah, it's a nice relaxing
show.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What we were saying before the break. Yeah, the movie doesn't even show that so much as it implies it.
Yes.
It implies that this region has like a culture of working class men who have grown up to be angry and alcoholic.
Yep.
And in some ways, Lucas Hedges is heading down that same path.
He sure is. We don't really see him drinking, but we do see sort of the beginnings of sort of that toxically masculine, like bottle up your emotions, always be strong. You know, he's like, yeah, he's on the hockey team. He's got 2 girlfriends. He's lying to both of them, you know, and so we see the beginnings of that type of guy.
He's working on the boat. He's working on George's boat.
George, yeah.
Yeah, that's the friend.
Yeah.
He's working on his boat. I think at the end when, you know, he and Casey Affleck have bonded a little bit more, Casey Affleck is like, well, you could come stay with me if you're looking at colleges. And he's like, I'm not going to go to college.
Yeah.
Doesn't he say something like that?
Yeah.
So in a way, like his life is shaping up to be very similar to the previous generation.
Yeah.
Of just being stuck in this town.
And I do think that the movie does a good job of presenting that as something that is like sad and horrible in ways, but also sort of like beautiful in others, right? Like I kind of feel like this movie does a really good job of showing that a working class, like blue collar, potentially alcoholic nobody in New England, right, can be like a beautiful life that is full of fulfillment, you know? Because I feel like the best foil to Lee in the movie is his memories of Joe. And that's why you fucking cast Kyle Chandler in this movie. We haven't talked about Kyle Chandler. I think Kyle Chandler is like the cornerstone of this movie. Like I think if you make this character a different guy, not the whole movie falls apart, but it is fundamentally not as effective, in my opinion, because you don't get that much time with Joe, through the flashbacks. But every single time he shows up, you're like, you can immediately tell that this dude is the best guy everybody who knows him knows, and he is like such an aspirational figure for Lee. Like Lee wants to be just like him, you know? And you can tell that this guy is like the guy who is holding everybody else's shit together, you know? And you just get that because it's Kyle Chandler, because it's like you show that guy on screen and I'm like, I love that guy. I trust that guy. He seems like he knows, he seems like he like will give me good advice, you know? And it's like, and so I feel like the movie is kind of showing like, yeah, like Patty could turn out like Lee and that's sad, but he could also turn out like Joe and that's okay. You know, it's okay to be just like a working class guy with a fishing boat if you end up doing it like Kyle Chandler.
And
right?
and you know, George too. Like
Yeah,
George
right.
seems like a good guy.
He seems great. Yeah.
Um
Yeah. And New England is full of those guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I got working class New England dude relatives and they rule. You know? It's like it is possible to have like a very like beautiful, three-dimensional, fulfilling existence as this type of guy. It's also possible for it to be a living hell, and I think that that's a thing that the movie does a really good job of showing, the kind of the two sides of it.
Yeah, I love Kyle Chandler. Kyle Chandler's one of the homies.
Welcome back to the show, Kyle Chandler. Welcome back to the show, several people on this episode.
Yeah,
Kyle Chandler's making a repeat appearance because we last saw him in King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong. We also have in this movie Michelle Williams playing a sad wife again after her last appearance in Blue Valentine. And then we have Stephen McKinley Henderson is in this movie for one scene.
Fuck this movie for giving me 2 minutes of Stephen McKinley Henderson.
But
After
also,
watching Lady Bird,
Yeah.
I was like, man, I've been sleeping on Stephen McKinley Henderson.
he rules. He's one of the best. He's one of our best actors, I think. And of course, we last saw him in the Dune movies on this podcast.
I thought he was in something else too. I don't know though.
I don't remember. I thought we last saw him in Dune Part 1. Because Denis Villeneuve, probably wisely for the screen, but to my disappointment as a viewer, left him out of Dune Part 2.
Yeah,
Which,
I mean,
more
there's
on that on our Dune Part 2 episode.
There's not much. I mean, Thufir Watts just kind of tortured off screen in the book. I think.
just was hoping for some two-handers with him and Stellan Skarsgård.
Well, and I think probably that scene also had Tim Blake Nelson in it, maybe.
Oh,
because
right.
Tim Blake Nelson scenes were cut.
Yeah.
I just wish he would release them rather than
Yeah. Sitting on him. Leaving them on a
throwing
hard
them
drive.
into the void or
Yeah.
something, you know?
To be deleted by Warner Brothers at some future date.
But also, I think I did watch Dune Part 2 twice
Yeah.
before I even realized that Stephen McKinley Henderson wasn't in it.
Yeah. That's because it's a good movie and you don't think about what's missing from it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Except for the I was a friend of Jamis scene.
Yes, that's true.
I wish the movie had that scene.
I wish it did too. We didn't talk about that on our Dune Part 2 episode.
I think we may have.
We might have. I don't remember. That episode is 3 hours long and we recorded it a year ago. 2 years ago? However many.
When did Dune come out?
I don't
2 years
fucking-
ago?
It's fine.
I have been thinking about Dune again lately. Probably
Yeah.
due for a reread of those.
You know what would not do well in Manchester by the Sea? A
sandworm?
sandworm. There's a lot of water.
Actually,
Well, actually.
at some point in the books, I think this might be a Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson thing.
Yeah.
The sandworms evolve to
Go in water.
go in water. I
Wow.
think like
Aquatic
I think
sandworms.
I think by the end of books 7 and 8 are like the conclude. They wrote books 7 and 8 as the conclusion to the Herbert series. I think there's water at that point.
You're
trying to
right, because
remember.
they've successfully terraformed
They've terraformed.
Dude.
They've terraformed a new planet.
Arrakis.
They've terraformed a new planet. No, Arrakis.
Oh.
So
I really was not expecting a lengthy Dune sidebar on the Manchester by the Sea episode, but please continue.
so Arrakis is destroyed
Oh.
in
They just like blow it up?
in book 5, I
Okay.
think. Book 6, they're trying to terraform the planet Chapter House
Ah.
to accommodate sandworms, and so they continue spice harvesting.
Got it.
And then that's Frank Herbert dies after book 6.
Got it.
So I think in 7 and 8, then water, a sea planet is shows
Okay.
up at some point, and the worms are in that. I remember that being on one of the book covers.
AKA albums, but that you read through words with
Yeah.
your eyes.
This is another TGMEM after hours, by the way.
It is. David worked 9 hours today. We can excuse him for going off on a Chapter House Dune rant.
I should reread that book.
Yeah.
Books 5 and 6 were tough.
Yeah.
God Emperor was awesome. I love God Emperor.
Yeah, I got to get to that one eventually, but first I have to get through the second one, which is it's not a struggle to get through. I just am bad at reading things that aren't horror books. Because apparently horror is the one thing that in any medium I will just immediately get sucked in.
Hey man, read what you enjoy.
Yeah.
You know?
Right now I'm reading Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, and it's really good. But it has nothing to do with Manchester by the Sea.
I mean,
Weird-
Dune doesn't either.
Yeah. Who was that? So Stephen McKinley Henderson got us off in the Dune thing. There's another actor. So Kyle Chandler's back on
Michelle
the
Williams
on
is
the pod.
back.
Michelle Williams is back. Stephen McKinley Henderson is back. There was another one that I was thinking of. Matthew Broderick. Because he was in episode 2, Lady Hawk.
Oh fuck.
Yes, and now he's back on the show in this movie. In his Matthew Broderick in this movie has maybe 5 lines of dialogue, and in those 5 lines, he manages to exude what I can only describe as family annihilator energy. This dude seems like the worst. In a way where it's like when Lucas Hedges after having dinner with his mom and her new husband, which is Matthew Broderick, Lucas Hedges basically threatens Lee with like, well, maybe I'll just go live with them. And then Lee kind of like one-ups him on it and is like, well, maybe you should. And Lucas Hedges is immediately like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're just going to abandon me? Because it's like, it's so clear that Patty wants nothing to do with this guy. And like the psycho shit that he pulls after they have dinner, and then he emails Patty and is like, your mother and I think it would be best if all communication went through me in the future. And like part of it is that his mom is having a hard time. She's had her own struggles, you know. But also part of it is that this guy is a controlling weird ass freak. This dude has like really, really bad vibes in a way that I feel like Matthew Broderick is perfectly tapped into in this movie.
Well, I think that may be due to the fact that Matthew Broderick might be the one actual person in this movie
right.
that can relate the most to Casey Affleck's
Good
character
point.
because he is responsible for the death of 2 people.
Correct, yes.
And
yes.
got off with minimal punishment.
Famously sort of accidentally killed a couple people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was really hard for him. And also he is like he has such psycho energy in this movie.
Yeah. Also, it sucks that he had to pay minimal damages because he was Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It does suck.
the
but
Matthew
yeah.
Broderick scene, the dinner scene,
Yeah.
is another emblematic of another kind of theme that you don't see movies often explore that this movie does, which is the profound psychological horror of awkward conversations.
Yeah. Yes. This movie's full of that.
Because there's a good contrast where like the dinner scene with Matthew Broderick and Patrick's estranged mother, who, you know, it was apparently an alcoholic.
Yes, and she also was dealing with some sort of not well defined or well explored mental illness.
Yeah.
It seems like maybe she has bipolar or something, but it whatever was going on with her when she was married to Joe put a strain on their relationship and made things challenging. And it's very much portrayed in the movie as like, this is maybe not really her fault, but also maybe she was self-medicating with alcohol and that didn't help. And like now she's in a better place, but it's clear that not everything is fixed.
Right.
Right.
That scene is quite awkward.
Yeah.
In a very uncomfortable way. It's also really funny.
It's very funny.
And I think that
Yeah.
is wonderfully contrasted with a scene like, any of the scenes kind of involving Casey Affleck dealing with the arrangements that one has to make when someone dies.
Yeah.
But the first one that I think of is him showing up at the hospital
Yeah.
to he talks to George and he talks to the doctors. And it's just like, these are the things that you have to talk about when someone dies. Where
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you got to talk to the doctor and find out what happened. Okay, who's taking care of this? Who's taking care of that? And you're trying to process emotions and also be proactive and try to plan
Yeah.
for a situation. And you're in a situation that you maybe haven't been in before. Like Casey Affleck has obviously experienced loss, but this is maybe the first time where he's been in the position where he has to go through these arrangements himself. And also, eventually it becomes clear that he has to become Lucas Hedges' guardian.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of responsibility being placed on him in this moment that he maybe isn't used to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love all those scenes at the hospital too. For all the, I agree with everything that you just said, and I like that. Like, it sort of feels like in some ways, Lee is like the most level-headed one in the room at points because he has dealt with so much tragedy and trauma before, and then other times he does feel kind of like lost. One of my favorite scenes though at the hospital is like after Lee picks up Patty and brings him there and is like, hey, like he's in the morgue if you want to see him. And they open the door and Patty's like, yeah, I want to see him. And they open the door and Patty,
No, he says, yeah, let's go.
yeah, Patty gets one look at him. He sees him on the slab for like a second and he's like, thank you, let's go. Right. And the morgue assistant is like, of course, and just show them out of the room. And it's like such a powerful moment where like as soon as he's confronted with the reality of it, he's like, I actually don't want to see this.
Yeah, well, and it comes after another. It comes after another fight with. Probably like the first fight with. With
between Lee and Patty. Yeah.
Because Lee starts pulling away from the hospital as Patrick's getting out of the car.
Yeah.
It's a great moment that shows that how these two characters just cannot communicate with each other. They're always like talking past each other.
Yeah.
And they're always at odds. And the journey that they go on is very, very subtle. But I think it's well illustrated throughout the film.
Yeah.
We are dancing around the mother of all awkward conversations, though.
Yes.
Which is the conversation with Michelle Williams.
Right. I mean, the scene that got this movie awards attention in some ways, because it's like, it is sort of the scene that you can't stop thinking about after you watch this movie.
There are two scenes that are my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah, mine too.
This is one of them.
I wonder if the other one is also the same for both of us, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
But this scene, so like Lee he drops Patty off, I think at one of his girlfriend's houses or whatever, and is like, yeah, I'm gonna like make a run to the store, to the corner store or whatever, and then he like just turns a corner and sees Michelle Williams like pushing the stroller with her baby that she's had with her new husband, right? And yeah, like they have this conversation, and it's like the big thing in this scene is that Michelle Williams is saying everything except "I still love you." And that is it's so heartbreaking, because like she's
Well, she does say that she loves him,
yeah,
but it's different than "I still love you."
yeah. And like and he is just, he can't take kindness from her, especially because of the thing that we talked about where it's like he has to keep punishing himself, right? And it's like, if she forgives him, if the mother of the children that he killed on accident forgives him, then there is no reason for him to not forgive himself, because she has been through everything that he has been through, right? And it's like, and I feel like that's he eventually the conversation devolves into him just going, I can't over and over again, right? And I'm like, that's what that's about, is he's being like, I can't go to lunch with you and have this be normal.
Yeah.
Because if this is normal for you, then this has to be normal for me, and I am not ready for this to be normal for me, right? Because I have backed myself into this corner where this can never be normal for me, you know? And it's like, and Michelle Williams plays this scene so beautifully. She's such a fucking good actress. And like this movie does have a Justus cry count. Perhaps unsurprisingly, I cried during Manchester by the Sea. One of the times that I cried in this movie was not her "you can't just die," which is a great line. You don't get to just die. Great line. She delivers it so well. The moment that got me to cry was when she calls him honey.
She does do that during the scene, yeah.
And I was just like, fuck. Like, that is like, it's so, and you see how hard that is for him, because it's like, all the love is still there, man. Like, it's unresolved. This horrible thing happened that tore them apart from each other quickly, and he has not gotten a chance to move on, right? And he hasn't given himself a chance to move on. And so her talking to him like they are still together is just like ripping that wound open for him. And she's trying to do it in an effort to reach out to him, and it's just making him feel even worse, right? And so yeah, when in her like beautiful broken Michelle Williams voice it calls him honey, I was just like, fuck, dude. And I was crying. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't picture her reaching out to him as like, they're not going to get back together.
No.
I don't think it's that, and I don't even think it's like it's an acknowledgement that he was really important to her and she loved him once and still does in a different way.
Yeah.
And the fact that she is forgiving him for doing what he did is the worst possible thing that could happen to him.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to him.
Yeah.
Is not even the acknowledgement that he fucked up would be better than being forgiven for it, because he believes that all he deserves is punishment, and that the divorce and the strain on their relationship and the distance that they've had since then is what since everything happened is what he's deserved this whole time.
Yeah.
And even just the chance of that door opening again to any sort of relationship with this woman is catastrophic.
Yeah.
And they both play it so beautifully and painfully.
Yeah.
We should talk about my second favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's yours too.
Yeah. Yeah.
My other favorite scene, I'm not going to order them. My other favorite scene in the movie is Lucas Hedges opening the freezer
Yes. Yes.
and the frozen meat
Yes.
falling on the ground.
Yes. This is mine too.
So
Yes.
there's so much in this.
Yes.
It is, again, it's like the tragedy of life is like the cruel
unstoppable
mundane
nothings.
things. It is it is stubbing your toe in the middle of the night.
It's hitting your head on the freezer door that you left open.
because you dropped all the frozen meat.
Yeah.
And then you look at a frozen chicken breast and you imagine
Your dad in
being
the-
locked up in a freezer.
The freezer, right. Yeah.
And it's I lost my grandmother last year. I lost a very close friend who died too young, tragically the year before that. And sometimes I'm just in the grocery store looking at chips and I cry.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I'm thinking about them in that moment. I don't know why I'm crying, but I just am.
Yeah.
And this is maybe the one scene where he really gets to let the facade
His
of
teenage
being a
cool.
teenager,
Yeah.
it breaks down.
Yep.
And he allows himself to feel,
Yeah.
and even still tries to suppress it and can't quite explain it.
Yeah.
But what a powerful, relatable emotion
Yeah.
that's expressed in this scene.
This scene it hits so hard for me because he goes to the freezer to get a snack or whatever. Everything falls out. He hits his head on the freezer door, and then he's trying to shove shit back into the freezer while being overcome with emotion. And Lee hears him from upstairs and comes down and is like, "What the fuck's going on?" And Patty's like, "I don't know, man. I think I'm having a panic attack. I might need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand what's going on with me." And he's like, "Okay." And then Patty goes to his room because he's basically I don't want to talk about this. And then Lee's at the door being like, "Hey, are you okay? You have to open this door." And he's like, "No, don't worry about it." And then Lee kicks the door in and is like, "You're not allowed to be in here with the door shut," because Lee is a guy who attempted suicide when when something tragic happened to him. So he's on guard. He's on watch. And he's I love the line from Lee. I don't remember the exact line, but he's basically you're having a panic attack over frozen chicken breast. I don't know how to deal with this. Right. And because he's just what am I supposed to do? Tell me what to do. And Patty can't. He's just I don't know. And the line from Lucas Hedges that also made me cry was, "I just don't like thinking about him in the freezer."
Yeah.
Right? Because they have that whole conversation when they're looking for the car, and it's kind of funny then. And then here he says it, and he's just so broken and he's so sad. And it's that's his fucking dad, man.
He's still worked up about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's "I just don't like thinking about him in the freezer."
Yeah.
And then I love the moment where Lee's like, "I'm going to stay here until you calm down." And Patty takes a second and he's like, "Okay, I'm more calm now. Will you leave?" And he's like, "No." And then we cut to Patty asleep and Lee is still sitting there.
Yeah. It's like Kyle Chandler checking in on him after
Yes.
the suicide attempt.
Yes. It's Lee has learned shit from Joe, right? From the way that Joe treated him after this happened to him. And it's Joe made him a better guy. And we get to see that without the movie spelling it out for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
I guess we should talk about the scene at the police station too.
Yeah.
Obviously, like heavily memed, but
Right. Unfortunately, I think, because I think if you had seen this movie and never had seen that scene
Yeah.
before, that would probably be a better experience for you.
it's still
It's
a fucking heart ripper of a scene though.
it's hard.
Because you can tell when he's being interviewed by I think the fire chief and
Yeah.
the chief of police and whoever it is down there.
Yeah.
They're interviewing about it. He's talking himself through it, coming to the realization of what happened, what
Yeah.
he's done.
Yeah.
And again, the worst possible thing happens
Yeah.
when they say, well, we can't arrest you for leaving the fire, for
Right.
for
It's
getting
not a
put-
crime to forget
not a
to
crime.
put the screen on your fireplace.
Yeah.
And
And it breaks him because it's like, again, it's like he would rather spend his life in prison.
Yeah.
He would rather spend his life reckoning with the choices that he's made and the mistakes that he's done and punishing himself.
Yeah.
And then the only way, impulsively, the only way he can see himself out of that moment is to take his own life.
Yeah. And it is crazy. It's a thing that didn't really stick out to me the first time I watched the movie, but the second time I watched it for this, I was like, he is about to kill himself, not just in the lobby of a police station, but in front of his brother and his friend, because George and Joe are there, right? And I'm like, that is crazy. And it's crazy that they see this. And then that lends so much weight to the later scene with Joe about check in with me once you get to the hotel.
Yeah.
Because it's like he saw this happen. I think one of my favorite line deliveries of the whole movie is Casey Affleck saying, "So I can just go?" Right? When
Yeah.
they tell him that he's free to go. Because he says it with so much disbelief, but also like anger. Like he's mad at them for letting him go. And it's like, yeah, I think it's just so loaded and so it's so powerful. And I also like the music in this movie is really, it's deployed in a very interesting way, I think, because there are like big loud swells of strings and vocals and stuff that happen throughout a movie that is otherwise mostly silent. And there is the risk when you make a choice like that in a movie that when you deploy the big loud strings at a point in the movie that is very dramatic, it's going to feel a little bit like you're like putting too fine of a point on it. But I think this movie is very intelligent about displaying this moment of very intense emotion as one of the only ones in the movie that you get, and pairing it with the music in that way, right? Like it's the most dramatic, like climactic cinematic moment of the movie, very intentionally, because it's like you never see something this overtly intense before or after. The rest of it is a lot more subtle than this. And so kind of the quiet that surrounds this moment, I think sort of earns the like big sweeping strings that happen like while he's recounting the events of how the house burned down and stuff.
Yeah. One of the other moments in this movie that uses music very well is the actual funeral. Because up to this point we've had some music, but it has mostly been without music and just, dialogue and such. And the funeral in the church has the vocals playing and no diegetic sound. And
it's also all in slow motion. Which I think is a really powerful choice because it gives you so long to digest each like minute change to the actors' facial expressions and stuff.
And this is it's the experience of being at a funeral.
A funeral receiving line, yep.
And having people come up to you and express condolences to the point where it starts feeling numb and empty and hollow. And I mean, I had this reaction when my grandmother died where I got sick of it, and I got
Yeah.
angry that people kept coming up to me and telling me how much they loved my grandmother and how well they knew her and how they were so sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but
Right.
it was just one of those where it just
a
kept
human reaction that
Right.
happens.
it just kept happening, and
Yeah.
that's what's in this scene where people are coming up to him,
Yeah.
and he sees Michelle Williams for the first time.
Yes.
I
also-
knowing that she's going to. I mean, he knew that she was going to be at the funeral with her new husband.
I also
Yeah.
like that you kind of get, because there's a lot of shots of Lee looking at Patty in the receiving line, and Patty being like all smiles and laughs at his dad's funeral. And it feels like Lee kind of judging him, but also sort of resenting him that he's able to like compartmentalize it in that way. And it is a moment, like, I feel like there's lots of moments in this movie where like Patty is shown in kind of an ugly light, a sympathetic but ugly light, where you're like, he's behaving badly, but we understand why, right? In this moment, it feels like a similar moment for Lee, where it's like you see him looking at his nephew, and the expression on his face reads as like, that little piece of fucking shit. I hate that kid, right? Well, he's watching him in the receiving line at the funeral, and you as the viewer are watching Lee with this look on his face, and you're just like, lay off, right? Like, calm down, you know? And it does, but at the same time, it does feel like it's coming from a relatable place for Lee's character, where it's like you understand why he would be feeling that way, but you're also like, chill out, man. Like, this, it's not about you right now. It's about him. His dad just died, you know? And I think because the moment is so stretched out, and is like underscored by the music and is in slow motion, it gives you time to kind of work through all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Cry count. Going back to the cry count.
Yeah.
Was it 2?
I've mentioned 2, but we might as well throw out the third one.
It's 3?
It's 3. I might as well throw out the third one because we already talked about the scene, which was the police station scene.
Yeah.
And it was specifically, Lee tries to shoot the gun, and he looks at it and tries to find the safety, and he gets tackled. And right before the officers tackle him to the floor, he says, "Please." And that always gets me. Anytime I watch that scene, it's like his little Casey Affleck's little tiny "please." It just breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah.
'Cause it is "please," like, just shoot me, right? And it's so heavy. But yeah. So those are the 3. The 3 are like, I don't like thinking about him in the freezer, and the "please," and Michelle Williams calling Casey Affleck honey.
Yeah.
Are the 3 that did it for me.
Well earned.
Yeah.
Well-earned cries, I think.
Yeah.
Certainly better than fucking Lady Eye.
Well, I have a history with that film. The Iron Giant made me cry like fucking 6 times.
Yeah, but
or
that makes
something.
sense. Anything else about the movie we should talk about?
I feel like I hit basically everything that I came into the episode planning to talk about. Yeah.
Looks really good.
Oh yeah.
Lovely looking movie.
Gorgeous movie.
I love that the cinematography doesn't draw attention to itself. We're not doing
No.
crazy camera moves or even like great lighting and color grading. It's pretty. It's pretty. I don't want to say flat, but it is like.
It's real.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It's just like that's what Massachusetts looks
It
like.
feels real and lived in, and
Yeah.
like I'm assuming it's digital photography, but like
Yeah.
really beautifully detailed digital photography.
Yeah. There are lots of great like little visual moments. One that springs to mind is like right before Lee punches through the window and
Yeah.
cuts his hand with glass. There's a great shot where he's just silhouetted against the window, and you just see the Haba out the window. And you like what you're seeing is the view that he's looking at, but like from right over his shoulder, and he's just like a black silhouette. like kind of glaring out the window, and then like it cuts straight from that to him punching through the window. That shot really stuck with me. There's lots of little moments like that in this movie where it's just like a beautiful little moment of cinematic, like just visual language that leads into the next thing. Yeah.
The movie basically ends with them bonding over fixing the boat,
Yeah.
which is like because it's one of those things that Lucas Hedges keeps complaining about that eventually becomes funny.
Yeah.
Was like, who's gonna
Right.
so do I get the boat? Are we
Yeah.
gonna fix the boat?
And it's funny, but it's also serious. Like
Yeah.
I love the moment where like he's at like Patty asks for money again, and he's like, "Don't you get money from working on George's boat?" And he's like, "I'm saving that money for a new motor," right? And it's like it's a joke, but it's also like, oh, this means a lot to him because it's his dad's boat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they end up selling his dad's guns.
Which, by the way, just very quickly, way earlier in the podcast, I said two things made me laugh really hard. The other one that I had planned to mention is the joke where Lee walks into the room with all the guns on like all the old like historic guns. There's like flintlock guns and shit. And he's like staring into the gun case, and then Patty comes into the room and goes, "Who are you gonna shoot, you or me?"
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me laugh really hard. But then, yeah, they sell him for a new motor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they sort of bond over that. And I like the final scene where they're out on the boat.
Yeah.
And Patty's showing his girlfriend
Yeah.
how to drive it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when Patty was a kid again.
Yeah.
You know, because like a lot of the happy scenes that we saw of them when Lee was the cool uncle that had a good relationship with Patty were on the boat, and it's like, yeah, we're on the boat again, and everything's kind of all right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Lee is basically gonna have George, and George and his wife raise Patty. They're gonna be his parents basically. But Lee's gonna stay in the picture, and he's gonna, you know, they're gonna visit, they're gonna be connected and stuff, and he's like doing his best, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's the scene towards the end where basically like Lee lays out that whole arrangement, and Patty's like, "Well, I want to live with you," like, and he says, "I can't beat it," you know, because he's not ready. He's not ready to be a dad, but he can be an uncle, and that's as far as he grows in the movie, because that's as far as he's capable of growing.
Sometimes you don't heal, you just survive it.
Yeah. Yeah, you just learn how to endure. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Manchester by the Sea.
Yes, Manchester by the Sea.
In the first episode of March Sadness.
March Sadness, it is. Gonna keep being sad.
Kicking things off with some dead kids.
I think next week will be less sad. I am going to say that. I do think Jean de Florette is less sad than Manchester by the Sea.
Okay.
So we'll probably have a better time next week, even though it will, to be clear, still be a downer. It's not gonna be good, but it might be a little bit better.
Justice
David.
is Manchester by the Sea, the greatest movie ever made.
David, I was pretty delighted going back to this. Delighted is an interesting
Yeah, I
word
was
to
gonna
use.
say delighted. Really?
I was pretty pleased with the return on investment of watching this film a second time 10 years later.
Okay.
This movie's heavy shit, obviously. It's also, like we talked about, funny and beautiful and full of great performances. I feel like I got so much more out of it this time than I did the first time. Like the first time I watched this movie, I was like, what a good, thoughtful, well-written Oscar-y movie. The first time I watched it 10 years ago when I was an idiot in my 20s and didn't know anything. And now, as an idiot in my 30s who doesn't know anything, I feel like I understand the levels of this movie a lot more, and I feel like there's a lot of nuance and subtlety that I maybe took for granted on my first viewing that is more apparent to me this time around, where it's like it is saying so much about not just about how you reckon with tragedy and grief when things happen in your life, but also like the stuff in your life leading up to those moments that either prepares you to deal with them in a healthy way or makes you susceptible to those moments owning you and stuff. I feel like all of the cultural stuff around New England masculinity and stuff was kind of like obscured to me the first time I watched this movie, and in a way on this repeat viewing it came into much starker contrast. And also it contains one of my favorite performances from it contains my favorite Lucas Hedges performance that I've seen. I think he's earth-shattering in this movie. It contains probably my favorite performance from Michelle Williams, and definitely my favorite performance from Casey Affleck. And it's just like, I don't know. There's like a special, there's something special about the specificity of this movie's setting and the universality of its message, right? It's like anyone can relate to grief, but also like it is so specific and so it is so of its place, you know? Like Manchester by the Sea, the location name is the title of the movie, and I feel like that's because this story couldn't be told anywhere else. And I just severely fuck with what this movie is doing. Because I think most great art is a marriage between universal and specific, and I feel like this movie has those things in great balance, and it really moved me on this watch. And I think Manchester by the Sea is the greatest movie ever made. David, is Manchester by the Sea the greatest movie ever made?
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
There's a word you used that I'm glad you used it, because it was going to be part of my verdict. You said this movie moved you.
Yeah.
I was emotionally touched by this film. I related a lot to its characters, to its themes, to the stark, ugly, mundane reality that it presents. But I was not moved.
Yeah.
And per the definition of our podcast, I was not entertained or compelled.
Entertained would be hard with this
Yeah.
one.
The fucking kids died.
They're burned to a crisp there. The firefighters are taking them away in body bags.
Oh, he's grabbing the officer service weapon.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
can't work the safety.
He's getting in another bar fight because
Butterfingers.
he wants somebody to beat him to death. Yeah.
I say that because I don't think this movie at any point seeks to move you, entertain you, or compel you. I think it seeks to immerse you in its emotions, and those emotions are like ugly and stark, and there is no meaning to them. There is no greater knowledge to gain from them. Sometimes you just suffer.
Yeah.
Because that's the way that life is, and that's how death affects people in some ways. And that is such a specific way to explore grief that I really respect and find to be really special. I think this movie's beautifully shot as well. I think it makes such a good use of its location, and like you said, finds the specific aspects of its location, its setting, and uses it to its benefit, to again immerse the viewer in what it feels like to be in New England in the middle of winter, experiencing the loss of your brother. And the performances, I think Lucas Hedges is like the standout for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Casey Affleck is great in this. Michelle Williams fucking rocks in this too.
She owns bones.
So many of the other, like, we didn't really talk about it, but some of the like extras and speaking parts of like unnamed characters, like all the people that hire him as a handyman in the beginning and the end of the movie.
old guy toward the end.
Yeah.
I really like that old guy.
Yeah, those performances are fun.
Yeah.
I appreciate how this movie kind of shows the nuance and the spectrum of emotions that one goes through when dealing with grief, from depression and despair to humor, to violently and aggressively fighting against the inevitability of death, and preserving youth, and preserving your sense of rebellion. I don't know. There's a lot that this movie deals with, and I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
But it's really, really fucking great.
Yeah.
And I don't know what would make it the greatest movie ever made.
Yeah.
For me. But I'm really glad this movie is what it is.
Yeah.
It's so uniquely its own thing, and on some level, I really respect that.
Yeah. It's really unapologetically just what it is. I love how many scenes in this movie just play out in real time, and it's almost like the movie is challenging you. It's like the movie is being like, "Yeah, what you expected us to cut away from Casey Affleck?
Yeah.
Opening the fridge and opening a beer and sitting down and watching the hockey game or whatever. Like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing it.
There's no big, sappy, swell in the music. There's no overwritten monologue where the two characters find understanding.
Nope.
Because, like, sometimes you don't.
It just happens at the pace that it happens in real life, which is over the course of a lifetime.
And I respect how
Yeah.
restrained and specific and controlled the movie is.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's the greatest movie
That's
ever
fine.
made.
That's fine. Yep, I get it. I gave this one a yes, mostly because I was so impressed by how well it worked for me this time as opposed to the first time I saw it. And the first time I saw it, I didn't dislike it, but it feels like it did hit substantially better for me now that I'm a little bit older, I think. Next week is Jean de Florette with Gerard Depardieu as March Sadness marches on. This week we had a guy who accidentally killed his family. Next week, tune in to hear a French farmer get his land stolen out from under him. Spoilers for Jean de Florette, but not really, because that's the whole movie. Thank you for listening.
Is this going to be our first French movie?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we've taken a little just jaunt over to fucking land of the frogs yet.
Yeah. The only way I'm doing that is if I get on that flight from Final Destination.
And it blows up before you get there.
Before we get there.
I've been to France. It's fine.
It's a country.
People are rude there.
Yeah.
The Germans are a lot nicer. The Dutch are the nicest in
okay.
my experience, in my limited experience on the continent, as they say.
Join us next week for Oui Oui Le Baguette.
Croissant escargot.
In the meantime, spread the word about the show to your friends, family, loved ones, and any crab fishermen that you might know.
Yes. Instead of killing your children in a house fire, subscribe them to the Greatest Movie Ever Made podcast.
Follow us at TGMEM_podcast on Instagram and send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com. And remember to like, rate, review, subscribe, and comment wherever you listen. Next week, we are talking about Jean de Florette. But until then, we love you all so much. Take care of yourselves. It's a tough world out there.
Yes.
Even if you didn't accidentally kill your kids in a house
Hey,
fire.
hey, if you're having a rough week, it could be worse. You could have killed your 3 kids in a house fire.
See you next week. As always, we love you.
Later, dipshits! We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Greatest Movie Ever Made. Please remember to leave us a rating and a review, and to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We appreciate you supporting the show and spreading the word. Tell your friends to listen, tell your enemies to listen, tell your mom to listen. If your neighbor has an unsecured Bluetooth speaker, connect to it and play an episode. You can follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast. And if you've got a movie that you want us to talk about, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.